Hello guys and gals, and welcome. So today we're going to be doing a Theorycraft. And what is that Theorycraft? Well, we're going to be doing a Thorns Paladin build. I've been wanting to do this ever since they changed Thorns because I really want to see what Thorns is actually capable of. And this is going to be a entirely physical damage based build, so it will be limited when you come across physical immune monsters. I'm not really sure what you're going to be able to do about that, but oh well. So I've gone ahead and I've created a character. I've called him GGM underscore cactus. He is the cactus, and GGM cactus is going to be our main character here for this. I've already kind of planned out some equipment for him, so we're going to go ahead and get that done. Let me go ahead and get this boring stuff out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and level him up and give him the appropriate amount of stats and stuff, and I'll be right back. All right, so I have his stats and everything set up, and now we're going to equip him out. So let's go ahead and give him the standard objects. So we're going to give him the cube and whatnot, and basically we're going to deck him out in all attacker takes damage of equipment. If you guys are unaware, what has changed, and the reason why I want to test this is because they have changed the way that Thorns works entirely. So in the past, before they changed this, Thorns worked very specifically. A monster had to connect a hit to you, and when they connected a hit to you, that connecting hit would return damage based on how much damage the monster was going to do to you. And just in general, you know, it made it so that the character had to really get beat on. Would be the correct term. They had to get beat on for it to do anything, and that's not how it is anymore. So what they've changed is they made it so that the character no longer needs to get beat on. It will trigger whether or not the character has been hit or not. It actually goes on attack, which is different than it was before. So on attack means that if the monster makes an attempt, even if they miss, even if you block the attack, whatever happens on attack triggers it. And this means that the Thorns has now become far more deadly than it has before. Now, I was actually fighting quite a bit on my Paladin on ladder, and when I came across Spike Thorns, the thorny beasts, the ones that have attacker takes damage of as a natural ability, I was getting my butt kicked. And it was because I'm a speed-based character, and of course I was hitting them as many times as humanly possible. And the more times I hit them, of course, the more damage I was in fact dealing to myself through the way that it actually works, right? So, you know, obviously not the greatest situation there. But, you know, I thought to myself, you know, why not let's make a character that can do it too? So I've gone over and I've created a list of items that I'm going to import today, and then we're going to test out and see how this character works. So right off the bat, as far as the first item goes, one of the highest attacker takes damage of items in the game is definitely the Spike Thorn Elite Shield. It's a very interesting shield, and it has an attacker takes damage of based on character level. Which we're going to augment with Am runes. So we're going to be putting Am runes in just about everything, so I might as well just go ahead and import a bunch of Am runes for this purpose. Am runes are attacker takes damage of 14, if I remember correctly, when put in body armor, shields, and various other objects, and we're just going to grab a whole bunch of them real quick. We're also going to be putting on another attacker takes damage of item in the belt slot. This is also one that has attacker takes damage based on character level, and this is the Razor Tail Belt. The Razor Tail Belt has a very nice attacker takes damage of 1 per level up to 99, so that is going to augment us as well. I also forgot to mention to you guys that they also changed attacker takes damage of, or sorry, Thorns, so that it applies attacker takes damage of now. So it does both attacker takes damage of, and it also applies a percentage return as well. So we're going to be getting both the percentage return and the attacker takes damage of on top of each other. And when we finish building this, I will certainly try and figure out what's going on. So another one of the items that has attacker takes damage on of is the War Travelers, which does have a very nice attacker takes damage of I think it's 15 or 10 or something like that, which is enough. We also are going to be using a wisp projector ring, and the reason why we're going to be using the wisp projector is because the wisp projector has a Spirit of the Barbs summon on it, which we're actually going to be using to augment our attacker takes damage of even further. And that's definitely something that we're going to be looking forward to. As far as the other ring goes, there's not a lot of good choices for attacker takes damage of rings. I'm actually going to have to craft a hit ring, I believe, because the only other ring that actually is even close is a Nagel, and I don't really want a Nagel. So we're probably going to be crafting a couple hit items. All right, and to craft hit items, we're going to need Amrunes, so we might as well just go ahead and copy a bunch more of these Amrunes. We're going to craft a bunch of hit power rings, and we're going to pick the best of the lot. That's basically how this is going to work. We also need sapphires for this, which are not particularly difficult to come by. I think most people actually don't utilize them that often. And we're also going to need hit gloves. So hit gloves are also going to be on the list. And they are also sapphires, but they are Ort runes. So we're going to put some Ort runes in here as well. Some Ordo, Ordington, Ordo runes. Let's go ahead and put a decent number of Ort runes in here. And we'll do a bit of crafting. Why not? Let's fill the cube with some jewels. We just need some junk jewels. It really doesn't matter. Honestly doesn't matter what they are at all. But I suppose there's probably going to be a whole bunch of actually good ones in here. But honestly, I'm just going to copy a bunch of jewels and put them in here for crafting. Might as well throw some more in here as well, because we're going to have to craft up a whole bunch of stuff. Because the other ring and the glove slot are going to have to be filled by the those hit items. Now for the armor piece, I've chosen a specific piece of armor because it has a proc for Iron Maiden, which is also going to increase our damage as well. Now this is an elite plate. It is the steel carapace. The steel carapace has a pretty nice bonus to Iron Maiden. It's a 8% chance to cast level 6 Iron Maiden when struck. So that should come in pretty handy for increasing our Thorns damage even further. Now there's not a lot of good choices for the helmets, and in fact I could not find any good Thorns helmets whatsoever. But it occurred to me that since the Amrune does in fact give 14 Thorns, what we're going to do is we're going to choose a Crown of Ages, a 2-socket COA. And we're going to put 2 Amrunes in the COA. So we're just going to go ahead and grab 2 Amrunes. And let me see if I can... I guess I can wait. It's not that big of a deal. I can put them in once we load the game. For the weapon, I was actually going to use a Guardian Naga. So the Guardian Naga has the highest attacker takes damage of in the game for weapons, and I honestly never thought I would be sneaking this weapon into a build, but I think it's going to go in there. And I'm also going to have to upgrade it to the Berserker's Axe if I want to get any real damage out of it, because I probably will be attacking things. But it does have attacker takes damage of 15, which is what we're looking for. And I'm not sure what we're going to do with this otherwise. I might have to, like, put a 1540 jewel in it or something to make it actually dish out some damage. In fact, you know what? Let me go ahead and throw a 1540 jewel in here. Not that I'm specifically going to be beating things up, but I do want to actually have some form of damage output other than my Thorns. My goal is not completely to be dependent on the Thorns, entirely. I've also kind of struggled between 2 amulets. The Telling of Beads amulets actually has pretty good attacker takes damage of, but I also considered the fact that, why do attacker takes damage of when I could just do something like Mara's. which would give me +2 to skills, which would help out the Thorns aura more. And the more that I help out Thorns aura, the better. So I think I'm going to go with a +2 amulet just to give me some more Thorns, as much Thorns as I can possibly get. So we're definitely going to be doing just a Mara's Kaleidoscope, which is a fairly generic item. Now, we could also theoretically craft a hit power amulet, and if we did craft a hit power amulet, it would have a decent amount of attacker takes damage of on it. And we could theoretically, believe it or not, get a very nice hit power amulet that has, you know, like +2 skills, all resistances, but it'd be pretty rare, and I'm not really sure if that's actually gonna be worth it. So that's our character so far, and I'm sure we're gonna have fun with this. But we're gonna have to build him even further in the game. So let's transfer him over, and let's see what we can do. So I just need to copy his file over to the actual directory. If you guys are unaware how to do this, you go into your C users, your username, saved games, and inside of there you will find the Diablo folder, and you will also find the folder for Diablo 2 Resurrected. And what you want to do is you go into the Diablo folder, you copy the original file, and then you go back to the Diablo 2 Resurrected and paste him into the Diablo 2 Resurrected folder. And at that point, you can then open up Diablo 2 Resurrected. It will convert the file, and once it's converted, you won't be able to make any more changes to the converted file. But you can go back to the original file, do some changes on that, and then and work at it from there. So do keep that in mind. So let's take a look at GGM Cactus, and let's see how he's looking. What kind of attacker takes damage of he's got. We're also going to have to do a little bit of experimenting to figure out exactly how much attacker taken damage of he has from other sources. So we'll figure that out. So here he is. Attacker takes damage of Paladin. GGM Cactus. So the first thing we've got to do is craft him up some amulet, some rings and some gloves. So let's get this done real quick before we start on anything else. What we're going to do is we're just going to craft as many as we can until we get something that's halfway decent. Like I'm not going to spend all day on this. So let's go let's do some rings or amulets or whatever first. The Ort runes are the gloves, I think, and the gloves have to be heavy bracers, according to this list. Yes, heavy bracers. Of course, the heavy bracers have knockback on them. I didn't even consider that. That's not a good choice then. Let's do the rings instead. So we've got magical rings, Amrune, Sapphire, any ring. So let's go ahead and just gamble a couple rings. And let's craft a couple of these Doojanks. Also, we're taking 2 Amrunes and putting them into the COA, which is going to give us a little bit more attacker takes damage over there. We're also going to put an Amrune in the Spike Thorn, which is going to give us some more attacker takes damage over there. So definitely very nice to have even more attacker takes damage of. And then let's go ahead and make a couple rings here. 10% faster cast with lifesteal and attacker takes damage of 4. I mean, it's better than nothing that I'm wearing right now, so let's go ahead. 5% bonus with 6% mana steal. Attacker takes damage of 3. Nothing really that great. I got lifesteal, dual res, attacker takes damage of 5. I'll take that over attacker takes damage of 3. Let's go ahead and make some gloves anyway. I mean, I don't really think it's the best choice because it has knockback on it, but why not? Let's just go ahead and do it. So we need heavy bracers. Heavy bracers are the chain gloves. Passed right by them. Come on, chain gloves. There we go. Alright, so we really want to get actually some heavy bracers. There we go, heavy bracers. And then we just throw this in here, craft it up. And we got attacker takes damage of 6 with some really crappy stats. Really bad stats. I mean, ideally you want some 20% IAS, maybe some other halfway decent things that are not garbage. Frost Nova, Magic Find, Mana Steel. I mean, they're kind of better, I guess. I guess. Alright, so let's get our strength requirements correct so that we can actually utilize this stuff. The steel carapace is 230 strength, by the way, so yay. So let's just go ahead and start pumping strength so we can actually put this equipment on. Alright, so now we have all our equipment on. Let's get our Amrune in our armor. Looking pretty pretty beastly here. I gotta take a look at this on the character screen real quick. Hold on. We gotta take a look at this. Oh baby. Ooh, look at him looking all like dark and evil. That's actually pretty cool looking. Isn't that right, Mr. Knees? What do you think, Mr. Knees? Does that look good? You just chinchilling, huh? Alright, that's cool. He just chinchilling, boys. Don't worry about him. Alright, so we need one more Amrune, I think, somewhere. Amrune. Okay, Amrune. We got all our Amrunes in. We got our offensive auras, skillers. We got our plus skills and our +3 paladin. So we're looking pretty good there. We need to upgrade the Naga so that it gets more damage. So it's going to be a Pull alum and a perfect emerald. And that'll get us a little bit more damage on the weapon, which it actually is pretty poorly in damage, and I don't seem to have a lum rune for some reason. Why am I always short on lum runes? Oh, there's a lum rune. Okay. I'm just blind. There we go. Upgrade that to the Berserker's Axe. Get a little bit more DPS out of that. And now we know how much we've got. So we definitely want to get our block chance up to the cap. That's one goal that we're looking at here. So let's go ahead and grab Holy Shield. We're definitely going to put 20 points into Holy Shield. And let's go ahead and cast it. And then we're going to bring up our dexterity until we hit that 75% block chance. And then once we hit the 75% block chance, we're going to dump everything else into Vitality without a doubt. Alright, so 330 points into Vitality, not bad. Still end up with 1500 HP. That's a pretty good number. Alright, so at this point, we definitely want to dump 20 points into Thorns. That is our goal. So 20 points into Thorns right there. And we are going to run it natively. So we've got level 33 Thorns, which is giving us a total of 364 attacker takes damage of, and a return number of 1,530. So not bad at all. We're also wearing the Wisp Projector, which gives us the Spirit of the Barbs at level 7, which is 86 attacker takes damage of, and a radius of 8 yards. So not bad. So let's go ahead and summon him. Now we got our little Dewjank guy. And you know, this should be forming up really nicely. We also need to go and check something real quick with Iron Maiden before we take a look at our beautiful attacker takes damage of numbers, because we need to figure out what we are looking at in terms of the Iron Maiden damage. So we're going to go to Poison Bomb real quick. And the Steel Carapace has an Iron Maiden of level 6, right? Steel Carapace. It is level 6, correct. So let's take a look at our Iron Maiden, and we can control it to get level 6, and it is level 6. So we are looking at 325% damage returned. So let's go ahead and grab our calculator here. So 325%. Or actually, I meant notepad. That's what I meant. We're gonna write all this down on the notepad. So 325% damage returned, and that's not bad. So we got an extra 325% damage returned from Iron Maiden. Let's go back to the cactus. Nice and spiky, as cactuses are supposed to be. And for our own thorns, of course, we have 1,530% returned. 1,530%. Which, of course, if you add those two together, you get 1,530% plus 325%, which means we have a total returned percentage of 1,855% damage being returned to the attacker upon attack, not upon actually hitting us. And then to exemplify our number, let's take a look and see what our attacker takes damage number is now. So we need to summon our Spirit of the Barbs, and I do remember that they don't actually affect you unless you're in that zone. So there we go. Now we've got both of our spirits running. And our current attacker takes damage number is attacker takes damage of 776. Wow, that's actually pretty nice. 776 damage returned. So that means that no matter what, even if the monster does 1 damage, we will be dishing out 776 plus 1,855%, which even if you took 1 damage plus 1,855%, is a total of 19 damage, basically. So even if the monster only does 1 damage, you're still looking at 776 plus 19 is a total of 795, like bare minimum damage returned upon any monster booping us. If you just boop us, 795 damage returned to you, sir. All right, so now we have our character built, and he's kind of a mishmash of equipment, right? So we had to make some sacrifices. We did. But look, his resistances are pretty good. 65 fire, 75 lightning, 75 cold, 75 poison. We're in pretty good shape here. Our attack rating actually should be pretty good since we're running 75% chance to block. So we'll keep that into consideration, obviously, because we have max Holy Shield. And we have a lot of extra skill points. Like, we have a lot of extra skill points. What do we do with all these extra skill points? We're not building any other auras because we're building thorns. We're not building any of these auras because, again, we're building thorns. We could theoretically make our character more tanky by building some points into the maximum resistances. We could also theoretically just focus on our combat skills. One thing that I was thinking right off the bat with a Thorns Paladin, which would probably be a good thing, is to go ahead and grab Conversion. I don't feel like you really need to pop a lot of points into Conversion, but if you really wanted to, you could probably, max it out. But it definitely makes a lot of sense because Conversion, of course, can convert the monsters, which you are then applying Thorns to, which then the monsters will then obviously, be hit, and those monsters can act as a way for you to proliferate your thorns throughout the battlefield. We could also theoretically go with a Fist of the Heavens build, which could be interesting. I think Fist of the Heavens might actually work out with this build. So we're gonna have Conversion as our sidekick, so to speak. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Conversion to save our lives in certain situations. We'll put that on the Z. And instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna max out Fist of the Heavens, and we're gonna max out Holy Bolt. And we're not going to max out the synergies for Fist of the Heavens because I'm not worried about the damage that it outputs. We're just going to go with the Holy Bolt damage. And we still have 23 points left, which is kind of insane. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make ourselves as tanky as possible. I think that's a good idea. And what we're going to do is we're going to build up Defiance, because Defiance is the synergy for Holy Shield. That way we've got insane, crazy levels of defense. And then the last couple points, I guess what we're probably going to do with them is throw them into Conversion. A very odd build to be sure. And let's go test this out somewhere, shall we? So, Fist of the Heavens. Let's go somewhere like Chaos Sanctuary at Hell difficulty, shall we? Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot a mercenary. We need a mercenary to help us with this. What kind of mercenary would we get? I'm trying to think right off the top of my head what kind of mercenary would be the best choice for a paladin like this. Somebody who's focusing so solely on damage returned numbers would definitely be an interesting mercenary choice. Let me do some thinking, and I'll be right back. All right, so after much deliberation, I decided on an Act 2 Merc, and honestly, I just gave it him Infinity, and I'm just going to let him do his thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's not really that big of a deal, like what kind of items I go with. And, you know, as long as he's in there getting beat on, it doesn't really matter, does it? Look at it, it's so calm and serene. All the monsters are converted. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to convert you all. Be less convertible. Attack me, Strangler. Murder thyself. So, is this build going to work? I don't know. Like, that's the real truth of it. I really don't know. I don't know. Like, I need to get into an area where there's a lot of monsters who are actually meleeing. Because I feel like it's going to be a much better example. Like, here we go. We got some lords. Some lordy lords. Oh, no. Immune to physical, Pit Lord. My nemesis. Hold on, let me go grab some potions and stuff. I'm sitting here. Now, yeah, I got like 75% chance to block at 31,433 defense over here, but God forbid I actually go buy myself some potions and stuff, you know. I also forgot to resummon my little Spirit of the Barbs guy. You know what? Let's go just for right now, just to ease the testing, because really that's all I'm interested in. I want to know whether this works. So let's go to somewhere where it's easy, and I know that's not really a good testing. We're going to go somewhere it's easy, and the reason why I want to do this is because I want to get an idea of whether or not this Thorns damage is actually applying as well as I would like. So let's just go to... Canyon of the Magi usually has a lot of melees. A lot of melees, and you get surrounded really fast. So let's see what's over here. Could be maggots, but we'll go somewhere else if it's only maggots. My poor little spirit. Leave my little spirit alone. I mean, the amount of damage that they're doing to themselves is pretty significant. I mean, are they, like, deliberately killing themselves in, like, 1 or 2 blows? No. Are they actually killing themselves, though? Yes, quite significantly killing themselves, actually. Let's try these big boys over here. These are champions. I don't even think they can actually hit me. That one is immune, is mostly immune to physical. I mean, obviously I would be in here zealing as well. Like, I wouldn't just let them wail on me. I'd get some zeals off in the process too. It's kind of lackluster. Like, I feel like all of the attacker takes damage numbers in the game like need to be revisited. Like, sincerely. I mean, let's do a kind of a dramatic example here, though, right? So let's take this same character to Nightmare difficulty. And I've noticed this about Thorns, is that Thorns is kind of broken in terms of, like, what it does at lower levels. So if I take this same character and I take him to Canyon of the Magi in Nightmare difficulty, or even just, you know, like River of Flame, it doesn't matter. Let's go to Frigid Highlands. And these monsters are going to just, like, absolutely demolish themselves on the Thorns. I can even, you know what, let's take off the infinity off of the Merc. And so we get a good idea. And they actually do a lot of damage to themselves. I don't know where that cold damage came from. I don't like it. I don't like it. I need the monsters to be wailing on me. And my Merc is in there, like, doing his 400 damage. I'm not really sure where the cold is coming from. Do we got Frost Nova on something? Oh, there we go. There's our Iron Maiden. Even more thorns. You know, the real problem with this, though, is that, like, no matter how much damage you're returning, you're still relying on the speed of the monster that's hitting you to dish out the damage, right? So, if the monster's not hitting you, then, well, you know, if he attacks really slowly, like, look at this guy. This guy's attacking so slowly. Like, I don't know what to do with this guy. He's just like, meh. I mean, one way I could roll it, instead of actually letting them hit me, I could just, you know, I could just convert some people. Just convert. There we go. Convert. Convert. Get a couple conversions in there. And let them get wailed on, you know? I mean, that also is an option. I mean, this is nightmare difficulty, and I'm still, you know, like, not quite there. Now, another option that I was considering was combining this with amplified damage, which could be a good choice, or decrepify. Let me go grab a Reaper's Toll, put it on the Merc, and let's see how that rolls. Alright, so I went ahead and grabbed myself a Reaper's Toll, an Eth with a shale in it. And you might be asking yourself, well, why Reaper's Toll specifically? Well, the answer is because the Decrepify on striking reduces the monster's physical resistance by 50%, it's going to increase my damage by 50%. Whatever my attacker takes damage of number is, it doesn't matter what it is, I will get more attacker takes damage of effect from a monster who is less physically resistant. If they're immune, I'm not going to get any. If they're 50% resistant, I'm losing 50% damage, and Decrepify will take away that 50% and bring them to 0, so that I'm getting the full effect of the damage. Also, if they're at 0% and he hits them with the Decrepify, it's going to bring them down below the cap, down to negative 50%, which is definitely going to boost up my damage as well. So let's give this another try now that we have a Reaper's Toll over on Shank, the Overseer, and Eldritch. Why not? Now, the downside of Decrepify that I didn't realize a second ago was that, of course, Decrepify is, unfortunately, slowing them down, which means that they're going to attack less often and apply the thorns to themselves less beautifully. Now, I am noticing that obviously the Decrepify and the Iron Maiden are overriding each other, which may not be a good thing. They're obviously battling for dominion here, so that we have an issue. I'm gonna have to swap out the armor with something else. You know what? Let's just steal his fortitude for a second. Why not? Honestly, I can't see how it's ever going to work unless they bump these numbers up. These are rookie numbers. They're rookie numbers. This is not enough. I mean, I literally did research before this video. It took like an hour to literally do the research for this video to come up with what I felt was the highest attacker takes damage of amounts. And as you can see, even in hell difficulty, it's less than stellar. I mean, I could bring up my thorns even higher, perhaps. Maybe I could do this on a barbarian, on a druid, and actually level up Spirit of the Barbs. There is a way that I could do it where I could take a, let's say a druid with max Spirit of the Barbs, and then I could put on an edge bow and a bramble armor on a merc to give max thorns. And then I could go with, you know, like, I don't know, something like that. I think I actually have a druid already set up with something similar to that. I'm pretty sure that this druid right here, either that or the test druid, one or the other. So not this one. Maybe the test druid. One of my druids, I think I was already playing around with this idea, and it might have been on the test server. I'm not sure. Let's check this one real quick, though, just to be sure. I don't have a mercenary, and this is obviously not the one. Let's see how much damage Spirit of the Barbs goes up to. I'm kind of curious. So at maximum, Spirit of the Barbs is 662 attacker takes damage of. So interesting. That's roughly the entire attacker takes damage of that I had on my Paladin in just this form, which means that with Thorns, which I was able to get up to, I think it was like 300, and then the rest of my equipment, I might be able to get it up to somewhere around 1,000, maybe 1,500. But even then, I'm gonna lose lose some other things. It does seem like the druid might be the better choice at this, especially if you had a nice double edge slash bramble bow girl. Looks like this is not the one. I mean, but with my testing on the paladin so far, I'm less than impressed. I mean, I don't even think doubling the damage would be enough. Like I was basically at around what, like 795 bare minimum return, and even if I doubled that, or even tripled it to like 2,000, I still don't feel like it would be enough. If you guys are watching, developers, this is basically a failed Theorycraft, what this is. So what I've done is I've taken every single possible variable and sort of like worked out the best case scenario. And even under the best case scenario, the Thorns Aura Paladin doesn't work. The Thorns Aura Druid probably doesn't work either, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate that they just need to figure out a way to actually make the thorns work properly. Because attacker takes damage of specifically just isn't good enough. Maybe they could turn it into an actual ability. So instead of it being attacker takes damage of, perhaps what they could do is they could make it so that when you're hit, an actual ability comes out of you. And then make it so that this ability can be augmented by other things. Because the way that attacker takes damage of works is it can't be augmented by anything. Like you can't add might aura to it to increase it. You can't add, concentration or fanaticism. You can't speed it up. It's very limited to, number one, the speed that the monster is attacking you at. Number two, the physical damage component of it is completely and utterly negated by physical damage reduction. And there's a big issue with this. So if you take a character like this to, say, normal difficulty with a max Spirit of the Barbs, like let's just go play around with it just for laughs. 662 return, attacker takes damage of return, is massive in terms of how it applies to a monster. Right? So if I take this character out there and they've got no physical damage reduction in normal difficulty, I could go to Frigid Highlands. I can walk around in here and everything will die. They will just one-shot themselves on me. And in Hell difficulty, the main reason why Thorns doesn't work is not because the damage isn't high enough. It's just simply because the physical damage reduction of the monsters is so ridiculously high that the monsters can't dish out enough damage to themselves. Even if you made it 1,500 or 3,000 attacker takes damage of, because the monsters all have anywhere between 50 to 75% physical damage reduction, you're immediately taking that, say, even 3,000 damage number minus, like 50%, it's automatically going down to 1,500, and the monsters have insane levels of health, even at players 1 in Hell difficulty.
that is like nowhere near enough damage for Thorns. They would have to bump Thorns damage up by probably 5 to 10 times, I think, to get the amount of damage that they need. But see, the problem with this is that then when you went to normal difficulty or nightmare difficulty, you could just literally walk through everything. Like you could just literally just stand there in the middle of a bunch of monsters and just let them kill themselves on you. And that's not what anybody wants either. Nobody wants an ability that's so overpowered broken in normal and nightmare difficulty and barely works in hell difficulty. So what do? Well, honestly, they need to make it so that the attacker takes damage of bypasses physical resistance. Make it not be physical damage. Make it be something else. Make it be magic damage. Make it be whatever. But if as long as it remains physical damage, as long as the physical damage reduction that the monsters have is capable of completely and utterly negating the attacker takes damage of, it's worthless. Now, granted, it can still be useful on an army if you have like an entire army, like a necromancer, spread across, the vast wastes, and you've got like 60 monsters, and you're dishing out a pretty nice return on all those monsters. It adds up to a lot of damage over time, but on one particular monster character, on one Thorns-based character, it's never going to be good enough at the levels that they've got. I think I'm pretty much done here. I don't think there's much more to test when it comes to this build. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to put them down in the bottom. If you have any comments on how my testing methods were wrong, I would be interested to hear those as well. As always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.